possibility that U.S. policy will change. Now, looking at where you've been, and those people looking at the United States, what do you think people want to see from America, from the United States, when it comes to global poverty, when it comes to dealing with the conflicts, Don and Ben, that you have witnessed? What would people around the world who live in poverty but in dignity, what would they see as the right thing coming from the United States over the next few years? And let me just go down this way, if I may.
One of the great interests in Africa is in education. When I went to the first refugee camps in Chad, the people have had all kinds of atrocities. This was early on, before the world was noticing it, and we were pleased that the U.S. Congress and the President did agree that genocide was occurring. But rather than ask for the things that you would think people would normally want, they need food, they need medicine, water was scarce, they wanted protection. They wanted all those things, but they just said, is it possible to set up a school so our children can at least continue some education? So I think that education is extremely key. That's what I think we need to invest in. We need to have policies that, without justice, there will be no peace. And we really have to be sure that they go hand in hand.
Okay. Well, the U.S. needs to provide indomitable leadership on the issues of eradicating poverty. It can be done. 200 years ago, decided that slavery was going to come to an end. Every effort went toward that, and it happened. I do not see how, with today's opportunities that we all have, information and communication technology revolution, the way that the fusion of knowledge is happening around the world, the fact that the greatest creation through capitalism of wealth has happened during the last millennium, and we're in the new millennium with such high trajectory of opportunities, it can be done. Leadership needs to come from a country like the United States, rallying everybody and saying, we must do this. Wherever poverty is found in any part of the world, it would be a shame for our collective dignity to continue to allow it to be so. Leadership must come from the United States.
Gail, I can't tell you how inspired I am by so much of what's been said. I think leadership is so critical. And a function of leadership is really setting the example and sending the right message worldwide. And I don't know that we've always done a very good job of doing that. And I think we have to put real emphasis on leadership and setting a better example in the future, and I hope we can. But I like what Congressman Payne said about justice. I think in addition to anything else, we have to ensure that there's a fabric of social justice, and we have to be a part of ensuring that through good leadership and setting a good example, we can create that fabric. And once we've done that, it seems to me that it is all about individual empowerment. And I've always felt that individual empowerment had three legs. It has a health leg, because without good health, there isn't anything else. Good education, the opportunity to be empowered and grow through education, the opportunity to learn. And third, economic opportunity. If you have the economic opportunity, once you've created the real chance that children can learn and be healthy, you've created a system whereby there will be growth, there will be opportunity, there will be optimism, and we will then send the message that the investments we're making are worthwhile and will come back and reward that we've never calculated before.
I would sum it up in terms of trade and technology. I think that people of Africa, first of all, they want jobs, they want access to economic opportunities, they want roads, they want to have a more productive agriculture. On the trade side, they want access to our markets. And if the next president with the Congress were simply to say, we will take the 15 of the poorest countries in the world and guarantee them permanent access to our market without import duties, without restrictions, that would generate millions of jobs in those countries without any real cost in terms of jobs here, because those countries now constitute maybe 1% of our imports. So access to our markets, which is a very tough issue, I'm sure we'll return to it later. On the technology side, in the end, the people in the poorest countries in the world honor America for our creativity, for our ability to bring innovations to market. And there are two technologies where we can make a huge contribution simply by investing more at home and making those investments pertinent to poor countries. One, in the area of energy, is solar and solar thermal, and possibly wind. We could see huge increases in access to cheap energy in places like Southern Africa if we brought to scale cheap solar technologies so that they were really competitive and made sense. Well, let me mention two other areas. One is a vaccine against malaria. It is in this country that we can create the incentives for pharmaceutical firms to be investing in finding a malaria vaccine, a vaccine against the kind of pneumococcal virus that affects poor children. Even a vaccine against AIDS. And the third is agriculture. There has simply not been enough research in the private sector or by the public sector in this country on how you can have a green revolution in countries relying on grain-fed agriculture, in the Sahelian areas of Africa, cassava, millet, crops that we don't know more about. That is business acumen also on how to get these things done, how to get roads built, how to invest in how to have public-private partnerships that could bring a highway system to Africa, a Pan-African highway system. What did Eisenhower do? What did we do in this country about linking states 50 years ago with the federal highway system? The countries of Africa need those kinds of links so their poor farmers can get jobs, then their children can get to school, and so on. I think I wanted to emphasize those things, not to the exclusion of aid, but I think if you ask what the people want, they want access to opportunities that can be brought in through the aid process, but fundamentally they don't want charity. They want business opportunities, economic opportunities, new technologies, and access to our markets.
Just from a first-person perspective and going around, well, one of the things I was struck by is these people in Africa are our friends. The countries that hold the United States in the highest esteem are in Africa. And we have an opportunity for really vital partnerships going forward. I think part of it's because, we're still seen positively, in some countries, but I think also it's that we don't carry that colonial baggage either. And, those opportunities sort of have presented us with the ability to make a difference there. And when I said, well, what can we do? How can the United States get more involved? The big answer was pay more attention. No one cares about us. No one's invested in this. Whether it's the electorate or the government, it's sometimes say, well, there's aid, or what else can happen? What else can people do? Often out here, it's not really about aid. It's about being invested in the actual issues, thinking about them and understanding them, because often there are much more creative solutions, much more effective solutions that can take place. And in terms of what, the United States government has done at a very low-cost level, under Jendai Frazier, Tim Shortley from the State Department has played an integral role in the peace process in Eastern Congo, for example, where we have our State Department representatives meeting directly with principal parties in this and bringing them to the table to negotiate and forge peace in concert with Apollinaire Malu there, and a lot of other Africans who are leading the charge. But as an impartial external force, there's a real diplomatic role for us to play. And I guess secondarily, again, just talking to people who give me their unvarnished opinion, one thing I heard over and that Western folks come in oftentimes with a sense of this is how it works. We've figured it out, we're all smart, we know how you run an economy, we know how you build a farm, we know how this should all go. And imposing that paradigm on people who have no familiarity with that and don't know necessarily how to make it work and aren't interested in that, oftentimes is much less effective than taking ideas that are African in origin, in other words, imposing solutions into existing social grooves in that country. Again, what I've seen has been much more effective and probably at a lesser cost. And I guess, on a final note, the people that I've met have really, again, a lot of these expectations that I had. I talked to fishermen in Mwanza who are making 20 cents a day. And they said, like, look, we just want more opportunity, we want to work more, we want a better job, we want people to buy these fish, we want better distribution.